What's this?
Yeah.
This is my emotional state.
I've always respected you from afar in all those tough matchups that we had. Now you're on the right side.
Yeah, I'm on the right side. Yeah.
Easy for me to make sense of, what my job is going to be.
On Tuesday, NBA Media Day began for multiple teams around the league, but there was one team in particular that stole the headlines, and that was the Miami Heat. And it wasn't for the reason that you'd expect. And while on the surface this seems to be very comical, the message that this sends is the last thing you want to see when you are a Miami Heat fan. There's multiple reasons why Jimmy Butler dressed in the manner that he did. But before we get to the content, make sure you drop, like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to help the channel grow. We are on the grind to 1 million subscribers on this channel, and now that we got all that out of the way, cue the intro. My friends, we had a
legendary weekend on Prize Picks.
Your boy personally made $700, and I only missed 2 out of 11 of my picks. And you guys hit me up in the DMs and let me know about it. We're about to ramp it up for this week. Remember, you get a $100 deposit match on Prize Picks when you use my promo code microphone, and I post my picks onto my Instagram story at TheFlightMike for free each and every day that there's a football game. And thank you, Prize Picks, for the sponsor. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? The other day, NBA Media Day officially began, and the one team that stole the show was none other than the Miami Heat, with Jimmy Butler pulling a similar stunt as he did last year. Last year, Jimmy Butler showed up to Media Day, and for all of his pictures, he wore locks, which is very comical because as starting fives were announced, and anytime they needed graphical images of Jimmy Butler, you would see him with a haircut that really wasn't his. So you might be wondering why last year wasn't a huge commotion, and this year you're hearing reports that members of the Miami Heat organization were made very uncomfortable by the fact that Jimmy Butler showed up to 2023 Media Day looking like he was emo. According to Mike Wallace, a beat reporter for the Miami Herald and ESPN, 98.9% of the Miami Heat organization was totally uncomfortable with what Jimmy Butler was doing. Like, this is so anti-Miami Heat culture and what we stand for. I've been around that organization, and I remember how much of a back and forth all-out war that went on, relatively speaking, behind the scenes because LeBron James wanted to wear a headband during his time with the Heat. He wore a headband all of his career, and Pat Riley didn't allow players to wear headbands up until LeBron James came. It was just this big issue over that. I remember some other things. Body fat percentage. Guys couldn't show up for Media Day and the first training camp practice if they didn't hit that point, whatever, on their body fat percentage. So how do you go from a team that is quite literally making sure that their athletes are hitting a specific body fat percentage, a team that doesn't want arguably the greatest basketball player of all time, or at least of our generation, to wear a headband, to an organization that's allowing Jimmy Butler to show up looking like this? Because at this point, Jimmy Butler is sending a message, and the Miami Heat are terrified of the message he's sending. You see, the stakes were significantly different coming off of last offseason to where they are right now. Last offseason, the Miami Heat were interested in Donovan Mitchell's services. Donovan Mitchell wanted to join the Miami Heat, and ultimately the Utah Jazz traded Donovan Mitchell to the Cleveland Cavaliers for 3 unprotected first-round picks, Lauri Markkanen and Colin Sexton, and 2 pick swaps. A remarkable haul for Donovan Mitchell, but that wasn't even as much as what they got for Rudy Gobert. You can make an argument that if the Miami Heat really wanted to take a huge swing and bet the entire future of their franchise on the core of Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and Donovan Mitchell, then it could have been done. But at that time, it was forgivable because that's a lot of assets to give up for Donovan Mitchell, and if the Heat didn't want to give up that many assets for him, then so be it. But this would be a theme that would follow the Miami Heat throughout the entire year. As the year progressed forward, during the offseason, we also heard that Kevin Durant wanted to demand a trade. Kyrie Irving would reluctantly opt into his contract with the Brooklyn Nets, and immediately you hear that Kevin Durant wanted to demand a trade. The 2 top teams he wanted to be traded to was the Phoenix Suns and the Miami Heat. Heat that KD had on his wish list. The Nets plan to move Durant where they can get the best possible deal. With 4 years remaining on his contract, there's no shortage of teams willing to unload assets for Durant. That's not necessarily the case. The only team that was willing to give the Brooklyn Nets what was required for Kevin Durant's services was the Phoenix Suns. And once again, in defense of Pat Riley, it was a plethora of assets. Kevin Durant would end up getting traded for Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder, and 4 unprotected first-round picks, and a 2028 pick swap. I can't blame the Miami Heat for not wanting to part with that for a player that was 34 years old at the time. But the thing that's unfortunate is, even prior to that, they were interested in Kyrie Irving's services. And Kyrie Irving was an asset that you could have potentially had. I mean, Kyrie Irving would get traded to the Dallas Mavericks for Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, 2 second-round picks, and a 2029 unprotected first-round pick. You could have easily got yourself Kyrie Irving if you were willing to deal with the fact that he could leave in free agency, but it looks like he never would end up leaving in free agency. So that's 3 superstar players that the Miami Heat were interested in that they all whiffed on. But it wouldn't end there, as the year would conclude with the Miami Heat becoming a play-in team, heroically coming out of the play-in and making a valiant march all the way to the NBA Finals. Truly one of the most impressive playoff performances we have ever seen in NBA history. They would eventually lose to the Denver Nuggets in the NBA Finals, but there was hope for the Miami Heat because Damian Lillard was expected to be traded, and at the same time, Bradley Beal was expected to be traded at some point. And eventually, Bradley Beal would get traded in what was considered to be a robbery. The Phoenix Suns would trade Chris Paul, Landry Shamet, 4 first-round pick swaps, and multiple second-round picks to the Washington Wizards to get Bradley Beal. At this point, Miami Heat fans were pissed, rightfully so. This wasn't that much of a haul to give up for Bradley Beal, and it was an easy acquisition if the Heat decided to go in that direction. So immediately, Chris B. Haynes tweeted out that the Miami Heat were more focused on Damian Lillard, and that's why they didn't pursue Bradley Beal. So this made Miami Heat fans anxious all offseason long. From the moment Damian Lillard demanded a trade, he said he wanted to play for one team and one team only, and that team was the Miami Heat. Shams even said it. The Portland Trailblazers have been informed that Damian Lillard wants to trade specifically to the Eastern Conference champion Miami Heat. Damian Lillard said that he wouldn't even suit up if he got traded to a team that wasn't the Miami Heat. It got so bad that the NBA had to intervene, and Pat Riley unfortunately let this all get to his head. There are rumors about him not being willing to really empty the farm to get Damian Lillard, and that's fair. But as this chart shows, the more you down, the more you end up finding out. Pat Riley took way too long to try to get a trade done. Now, of course, there's the conspiracy theories that the NBA didn't want Damian Lillard to get traded to the Miami Heat because, well, they wanted to send a message to superstar players about signing these supermax contracts and then demanding a trade to a particular team. So there is that particular theory, and for all you know, it could be true. Given everything that has happened so far, given the history of the Miami Heat, and given the reluctance to part with their assets, I don't necessarily know how willing I am to believe all of that. So soon you would hear a report stating that the Miami Heat were willing to offer Tyler Hero, Nikola Jovic 3 first-round picks, first-round pick swaps, and multiple second-round picks for Damian Lillard. But the Blazers weren't interested in such a deal, which, I'm gonna be honest, I kind of find that hard to believe, because prior to that, we were getting a separate report saying that Pat Riley never really called back to improve his trade offer for Damian Lillard. Immediately upon hearing of the trade, Jimmy Butler would say it's tampering.
Yo, NBA, man, y'all need to look into the Bucks for tampering. Y'all do. I'm just gonna put that out there. Y'all didn't hear it from me, but I heard it through somebody. Y'all look at him for tampering.
Tyler Hero would agree with him. And I guess given this moment in the All-Star draft, you could claim it was tampering.
My first pick.
Yeah. What'd you say, LeBron?
I already know his first pick.
Yeah, so do I.
My first pick gonna be Damian Lillard.
So I knew for sure his first pick was gonna be Drew. So I don't know what's going on with y'all. Okay, you messed my whole draft board up now.
I'm here to win.
With my first pick,
But immediately, Portland Trailblazers fans saw something that was very familiar upon the Damian Lillard trade, and that's that the Miami Heat are interested in Drew Holiday, because the Portland Trailblazers were able to trade Damian Lillard and receive DeAndre Ayton, Drew Holiday, Toumani Camara, 2 unprotected first-round picks in 2029 and 2030, and swap rights in 2028. But as you can guess, given how the Damian Lillard trade went down, the odds that the Miami Heat were willing to settle for Drew Holiday were, well, very slim to none. Now, the worst part of this is, not only did the Miami Heat fail to improve, but the Miami Heat got worse. They whiffed on Bradley Beal, they whiffed on Damian Lillard, they lost Gabe Vincent to the Los Angeles Lakers, they lost Max Strus as well, they brought back Josh Richardson, and, well, that's about it. So you're going into a season where you were the 8th seed, considerably worse. Jimmy Butler is watching Damian Lillard say this about Giannis Antetokounmpo.
I think coming into this situation is very, very easy. You know, you look at somebody like Giannis, you look at Chris, you look at Brooke, when I looked at the roster, it was very easy for me to make sense of, what my job is going to be.
He's seeing the general manager take victory laps over his general manager.
I think it's the 3rd or 4th time in 25 plus years where a team has been able to acquire a top level player while already having one. It's incredibly hard to do, it's unique, and it's hopefully very impactful.
And meanwhile, all Jimmy Butler can do is say this.
Jimmy, last year you came out with the braids, man. What's this?
I had dreads last year.
Yeah, the dreads.
What's this?
Yeah.
This is my emotional state. I'm one with my emotions.
One day later, Jimmy Butler would tell us what we were all waiting to hear. He admitted that he's pissed off.
Happy for both of those guys. I'm more pissed off that he went to Milwaukee because he went to Adrian Griffith's team. And everybody knows I don't like Adrian Griffith at all. It's my Chicago days.
And how could you not be pissed? I mean, everybody in this instance is happy. You're seeing Drew Holiday thank Joe Cronin for trading him to the Celtics.
Portland blessed me, did a great job. Joe Cronin did a great job of communicating with me on what I wanted and how to proceed. Did a great job of putting me in a place that I get a chance to possibly win another one, which is super important to me. But working with them was very easy, very seamless, and made all this possible.
And you're even seeing Drew Holiday declare war on his ex-team already, the Milwaukee Bucks.
We've always respected you from afar in all those tough matchups that we had. And now you're on the right side.
Yeah, I'm on the right side. Yeah.
We like you now.
We love you.
Appreciate it, yeah.
The Miami Heat aren't even being thought of in the Eastern Conference at this point. It's literally between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics made it to the Eastern Conference Finals last year and lost to the Miami Heat. And what do? They trade Marcus Smart, they get rid of Grant Williams, they trade for Kristaps Porzingis, and they trade for Drew Holiday. The Miami Heat make it all the way to the NBA Finals, and what do? They give their fans blue balls in hopes of them being able to bring in some sort of superstar to help out Jimmy Butler. Yeah, I guess Tyler Hero's upset that the Portland Trailblazers don't want him, but you have to remember, Jimmy Butler is now 34 years old. He's not getting any younger, and we don't know how much longer he could play at this level for. So churning out the exact same roster in hopes of bringing a championship with this core, in my opinion, might be the definition of insanity. I mean, who knows? You might see gigantic leaps from the Miami Heat's existing talent, but barring Tyler Hero pulling up and averaging 28 points per game this year, I don't really see how this team improves at all whatsoever. That's why Jimmy Butler showed up to media day the way he did. Because Jimmy Butler's nightmare of him hoping that the Miami Heat try to improve their roster and then failing to improve their roster just keeps on getting worse. Every star that becomes available gives them a glimmer of hope. The next one's probably going to be Joel Embiid, but every single time there is a superstar available, somehow, some way, the Miami Heat whiff on him. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think about all this? Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.